Alright, so this place is near the Louvre. Some expensive real estate here. Let's take a look at this shop. It's supposed to be the mecca for gypsy jazz guitars. It's called Gallery Casanova. So let's see if we can find it. Expensive antiques. We're basically going to the guitar museum. Here we go. This is it.
Look at this, it has two guitars.
Yeah, it's a harp guitar.
Have you ever played one of those?
No, never have. All right, so they're technically closed today. But he said he was expecting me. So I'm gonna push this button and see if he'll answer the door. Okay, so we came to the shop. They let me in. Jerome Casanova, this place is named after. He does expert restorations on classical guitars and old jazz guitars and even vintage Strats. Okay, Hattie is here. And he's going to tell us a story about the lineage of gypsy jazz guitars.
The French jazz guitars. So I suppose it all started with this. So this is a very early 1932 Selmer Macaferry guitar. So Selmer is a brand and Macaferry is the luthier who brought this design to them in the early 30s. So he was an Italian guy who settled in London at first. He's a classical guitarist as well, so he's kind of playing guitar and also trying to perfect the instrument for his own purpose. And he met the representatives from Selmer in London and presented them with this design. So, which is sort of shaped like a classical guitar with a cutaway for accessing the upper frets. And what's specific about these models is they have an internal resonator, sort of like you would find on some American guitars. Like it's the same concept as National metal body guitars. It's sort
like
of the same
like a
idea.
Dobro.
Yeah, exactly.
But wood
but
instead
wooden.
of
Essentially, what it is, it's a second soundboard suspended inside the guitar. So, if you look here, you got the label. You've got sort of a lip coming up, so that's spruce, the same wood that's used for the soundboard.
Okay, yeah, you can see that it's not attached to the back. It's floating.
It's floating, exactly. And everything else is holding it in place, and you have an opening here so that the sound goes back out the sound hole with a reflector as well. So.
To compete with horns.
Exactly. The idea is make it louder. It didn't really work out as intended. The sound is very nice, but it's not necessarily the most punchy sound.
Sure.
And so the way these guitars evolved is much like American guitars at the time, like what Martin was doing, is a very similar thing where they shifted from this sort of guitar with relatively low string tension, 12 fret body and neck joint, to stronger brass guitar. So this is transitional. This is a bit later on. This is from 1934. So as you can see, they've already dropped the big sound hole. They've dropped the resonator, and they're turning towards the more definitive design.
A smaller hole known as a
Petit bouche. That's right. Small mouth. And this one on the far right.
So this one is got a 12th fret
Exactly.
neck joint. So it's kind of the hybrid.
Yeah, it's very much in between, like this very early design, and this is the definitive form. So this one is this is really very, very historically important guitar, I'd say. So this is one of the very earliest definitive Selmer guitars. It's light, it's resonant, and it's really the sound. I don't know what to attribute it to exactly. If you listen to like the very early, the earlier Django records, it's exactly that sound. Wow. It's got the petite bouche, and it's got a joint at the 14th fret. So the body and neck are joined at the 14th, which means the string tension is higher, right?
Okay.
And this is like the guitar. Well, it's not the guitar that Django used, but it's very, very close to the instrument that Django Reinhardt would have played back in the
Gotcha.
day.
Okay.
Just to give you a sense, Django played numbered. So these are all numbered. They all have like a serial. And Django's was number 503. And this one is 517.
Wow.
So it's very close.
Really close.
And these were professional instruments, right? So there's very few of them. All in all, there's less than 1,000, maybe like 950 or so.
Wow.
And
So it's got a
it's got a 0 fret.
zero fret
So
with,
that's
with
very typical.
steel. What is it?
So this is called Galilite. It's a very early type of plastic that's used making milk protein mixed with formaldehyde.
What protein?
Milk.
Milk protein.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And it makes
No way.
Yeah.
Say yes way.
Yes way.
That's the joke. Okay.
So an early replacement for ivory or bone. It's a bit easier to work. It's a bit of a softer type of plastic. So, but plastic.
Now
for
it's got the fret that would block that from actually vibrating. But does that make a difference in the tone?
It's just to guide this. So there's no the angle. I don't know if you can catch that, but the string is resting on the 0 fret, and then this is just to guide the string.
Okay, gotcha.
Through to
so
the
it's really
tuners.
not affecting the tone that
No,
much. Okay.
no. It's just a string, a guide nut, I suppose you could say.
Okay. Now the scale length from here
Yeah.
to here, is it the same as that?
So this one is longer.
Okay.
The scale on this one is longer and shorter on these.
Okay, so it's not just the neck joint at the 12th, but it's
Yeah.
also
The scale length
a
itself.
shorter. Okay.
And because the other main thing is, much like in the US, in Europe, up until these came around, most orchestra players played banjo. Right?
Uh-huh.
There's the only instrument really loud enough to compete with brass and the other instruments. And so when this came about and players realized that this was indeed able to stand out in an orchestra, this became the most popular string instrument, pluck string instrument for jazz playing and orchestra playing. So this one's from 1940. This is really the heart of the hot jazz,
Yeah.
swing era.
It's seen the real deal.
It's seen the real deal. And this specific guitar actually belonged to a guy, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he was the accompanist for an accordion player called Joe Privat. So accordion was probably the main popular instrument in France up until pretty late, like the 60s, 70s. And this guy was a massive superstar for accordion. And so this guitar was used by his accompanist up until the late 60s. So it's been through the ringer.
It's got paint.
Yeah,
on the.
So that's the one thing we've not quite managed to ascertain for sure. We believe this paint could have been done at the factory on special request. So normally Selmer guitars have natural, just rosewood finished back and sides. But this paint is really old, and the provenance of this guitar was brought to us by the son of the guy who had it all these years.
Oh.
And he bought it himself in the mid-40s. And when he got it, it was already like this. It's, it's on record covers, it's in pictures, period pictures, painted black. But the only thing is there's no definitive information from Selmer that they did these kinds of finishes.
Okay.
There's one other guitar in the ledgers that's it's written down as a solid black body, but we don't have any pictures. We don't know where that guitar is, so we don't know if it's exactly like this.
Now, I'm assuming all the rosewood that was used is Brazilian rosewood.
Or Indian. It depends.
Oh, Indian. Okay.
Yeah. See, this is Indian rosewood, for example.
So you can tell by the
grain.
The grain. Okay, it's a tighter grain, right?
It's a bit less figured. We got less of the very dramatic black streaking.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is Indian rosewood. They use some Brazilian on guitars, some Indian. Sort of depends on what they had available at the time. But in any case, these being European made, I suppose the access to trade with the East
was
a bit easier than Brazilian or
Brazilian.
Central
Okay.
American.
Okay, gotcha.
there was definitely stuff coming over from Central and South America at the time.
But it's mostly stayed in the United States.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or it's a lot more prevalent in the U.S. than
I understand that. Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
And so that's so Selmer, and then there's another, and then that's a transitional Selmer,
Exactly.
and then this one is a
So this one is a Favino.
Favino. Okay,
Favino
that's
is another big name. So if I had to give like the top 3 names, you'd have Selmer, and then another guy called Busato. who is,
I've heard of Busato.
Is really a kind of a funny thing. So his guitars are really renowned and sought after. He built really high grade instruments, but he also built a whole kind of anything instruments, clothespins, accessories. He had
Clothespins.
everything.
Okay, just the maker of.
And then he sold radios, TVs. Essentially, he had a factory in the north of Paris that just built a whole bunch of stuff.
Wow.
We got Busato drums and Busato banjos.
Wow. Just like making stuff.
Yeah, it's all-in-one. So his, there's a kind of a short period where his guitars are, well built, and there's an actual luthier who is well versed in building guitars. But at other times, the quality is a bit more questionable.
Oh, I
so
see.
there are good Busatos, there are not so good ones. It's a bit of a hit or miss, but the good ones are really good. The
Okay.
bad ones are a bit well. So that's the second one, and then Favino is probably the third, most renowned builder for these Gypsy jazz style guitars.
Yeah, that 10th fret dot does kind of mess me up a little. I feel like I'm landing on B instead of C.
He started up just around the time where Selmer was finishing in the early 50s, and he built guitars for about a bit over 25 years. So this guitar is one of his very last. This is from July 77.
77.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he stopped working officially in 78.
So so they're kind of got a rounded back.
Yeah, there's a bit of an arch to the back.
Do the Selmers have that too? I didn't notice that.
And it's certain, yeah, they do. It's not necessarily very noticeable, but they all
Okay.
have a bit of a
Gotcha. Just a bit of a.
bowl, or I don't know how you can really call it.
And this is also Indian.
This is
Woodbine?
also Indian, I'd say. Yeah.
And then is that
And the
cedar or spruce?
I think it's spruce. It's just the color,
The finish.
the finishing that's it's gone a bit amber. It's pretty red.
And then
red, but
I didn't know this, but there's the gap here. So there's
Yep.
the bridge, and then these are called a mustache.
mustache. That's
Okay. So is it just decorative?
The idea for these is they show you where to place the bridge for proper intonation.
Oh, I see.
So you just stick
That's
the bridge
convenient.
in between them. Yeah. So the bridge is floating, right? It's just held in place from this string tensions like
Okay.
on an archtop guitar. And ideally the mustache show you where to place the bridge so that the intonation is
Yeah,
right.
that's
Sometimes it's not exactly
exact,
right.
Yeah. Now the strings, the proper type of strings to put on a Gypsy jazz guitar.
There's 2 gauges, either 10s or 11s. They're fairly light gauge. These are
Uh-huh.
a bit more floppy than.
But they're not just pure steel string or whatever.
No,
They're-
these
they're
are
like
wound,
nylon
like
core?
silver or over. I'd have to check. They're called Argentine strings, and this is the historical type of string. That's
Is it
always
like a
been used.
nylon core, like
It
a
might be
like some kind of fibrous core?
Maybe it's what do you call that? Silk core, maybe.
Silk core. Okay,
Something.
yeah. They're not pure.
I'll check on the package. I'll see what it is, but it's not. I don't think it's a metal core. These are.
Right. I remember seeing like the inside of them, and they're all
Yeah.
kind of like stringy.
Yeah,
They're not. It's not like a metal core like normal strings. That's cool. So that adds to the proper sound.
To the sound, of
these,
course,
Yeah.
yeah.
And also the string tension is not as heavy.
No, yeah, that's right. It's
Okay.
also designed to it's a balance. The string tension is, typically the action on these guitars are pretty high.
Okay.
Just because when Gypsy players play, they really dig into it.
Oh yeah, they do the like the rest stroke thing
Yeah.
where you get to have the
Chunk, chunk,
yeah.
chunk.
So it's like this, like you rest stroke.
Yeah. So yeah, and the only like the main difference between these Favino guitars and Selmers is the lower bout is slightly wider, so the body is a bit bigger. On
Interesting. Okay. And that was a tonal decision.
Maybe, or like his own take on, he tried things out and decided that was a good way to do things.
So this neck, the back of the neck is very, almost like a rounded off, like rectangle.
Well,
It's real chunky. If this is what it's supposed to be, then I can judge the other ones against
I mean, this is like the touchstone for everything else. The problem with playing this first is it kind of blows everything else all out of the water. So,
yeah. Well, you know, what's funny is there's a shop in Nashville called Carter Vintage Guitar, and I saw a pre-war Martin. It was like 150,000, and I'm like, there's no way. There's no way it's gonna be worth it. And I just played one chord. I'm like, dang it! I wish I didn't do that because it's so nice. And this is the same feeling.
yeah.
Wow. So resonant, you know.
It's light, it's resonant, and it's really the sound. I don't know what to attribute it to exactly. If you listen to like the very early, the earlier Django records, it's exactly that sound.
Wow. And this is like made like, his is 504, this is 517.
Yeah, 503.
Oh, 503.
Which you can actually see it in the museum, the instrument museum in Paris. We're finishing restoration on another 14 fret right now. It's later. It's from 1949, so it's more towards the end of the production period. And it won't be in this price range. It will be closer to this, 25 to 30,000 euros, probably around this price.
So this is, it's like putting money in the bank.
Exactly. I mean, it's weird to think of it this way, but it's definitely a consideration for a lot of people who buy Selmers from us. You know, a lot of them are people who live in the U.S., who are starting to play gypsy jazz guitars, and who are just, you know, from the get-go getting the
best.
the
They're probably lawyers or
got some cash.
blues lawyers.
Yeah,
Have you heard
maybe
the blues lawyers? Yeah. Wow.
It's definitely, in terms of investment, again, it's a bit of a weird term to use for an instrument, but it's taking money, putting it in something, and if for whatever reason you want to recover those.
Right.
The market for these in the U.S. is even better than it is here.
I bet, yeah. This is the Favino, and the Favino, unfortunately, doesn't hit me the same as the Selmer. Just like the Selmer, it feels lighter and more resonant. Okay, unfortunately, this is the one I like.
All right.
You know why it's unfortunate?
Why?
Because it cost 32,000 euros. This is a DiMauro. So it looks like this. So it doesn't have that hole in the middle, but it has a nice sound. It's like very. It has that breathiness, but a little less 3D than that 37,000 Selmer. This one is 5200. just screaming at you with that giant diamond, and that would mess me up because you can't avoid it.
You can't go over.
You can't avoid it.
You have to relearn everything around that.
Yeah, or get like some kind of covering or whatever. Do people do ask for that?
Not so much.
No, they shouldn't, right? It's like offensive a little bit.
Well, I mean, we won't. Don't ask, don't tell either.
Yeah.
That's our policy.
Okay, so yesterday I went on a little trip to find a nice guitar, a nice gypsy jazz guitar. I went to that place near the Louvre, Jerome Casanova's place, and it's amazing. You know, I tried one of the Selmer Petite Bouche guitars that is like really close in serial number to the one Django actually played. So Django played like 503 or something like that, and I played 517. And so it's really close. Hit kind of a historically important instrument. And not only that, it sounded amazing. Only problem is it cost 32,000 euros, which is more than I want to spend, although I do think it's worth it. So if any of you like actual investors, players, I really think that's a really fantastic instrument. So, but I want to go on another little odyssey to find a more affordable yet excellent guitar. And so the place I found, it's a little outside of Paris, it's about an hour away, called Guitar Village or Guitar Village. So that's where I'm going right now, so I'll let you know what I find. Okay, see ya.
Okay, spent like an hour on the train, and I finally arrived. This is Guitar Village. Guitar Village. All right, I'll let you know what I find. Okay, I'm here at Guitar Village in Domont, just north of Paris, like 40 minutes north. This shop is way more interesting than anything I saw in the Pigalle district in Paris. So if you're in Paris, just take a little trip north. It only takes about an hour to get here, and it's worth it, absolutely worth it. Look at all these gypsy jazz guitars. So I played all of these, well, all of the ones, you know, that I wanted.
Celle-ci.
And
Ouais.
I picked a really nice one.
Voilà, tu fais ta vie, tu connais le mag,
And,
hein, tu le branches.
Yeah, it's similar to this one, a DuPont. That's the kind I'm getting. It sounded great, and it's a new one. They have a pretty cool acoustic ring too. That's some new stuff, some vintage stuff. There's a 62 Strat. And the prices aren't bad, actually. Pretty reasonable. Some old amps, old Gibsons. Take a look at the amp room. I had one just like this. DC 30. And there's an upstairs too. And instead of hearing bad Metallica licks, it's playing Monk. Look at all these. So there's plenty to choose from.
Okay, this one's interesting. It sounds good. It's by Castelluccia. This is the 65th anniversary one. So Castelluccia has is a luthier in Paris, and I've tried one of his like more budget model ones that I thought sounded pretty good, but this is a more expensive, like a special one, and it's really nice. It's got that light, airy, very nice. Still the not noof, but not noof, but I'll put some white out on there, or a sticker. Yeah,
A sticker, yeah.
So,
This is
And-
Olivier. That's your name?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
I'm going to tell my students that you're the master of this shop.
Yeah, I'm the master of Guitar Village for Gypsy guitars. So
Yes.
ask me.
So tell us about this one.
Let me play. Reverse.
Reverse. Nice.
I love the sound of this guitar.
It's beautiful. Yeah, I think I've played all of them, and that's my favorite. Did I miss any? I like the 65th anniversary.
Yes,
That was nice.
it's a good one too, but it's not so. You have less air between
Yeah.
notes. And after this one, maybe
I like
one from Cyril Gaffiero, and
Yes, I like this one too.
it's Cyril Gaffiero.
But I think this one is more well known.
Love it.
So
Very good one. Very good
so
choice.
made in Cognac.
So it's from Cognac, and when you buy Old Reserve, you get a bottle of Cognac
Okay.
with, because his father of Maurice Dupont used to make Cognac. So now he's dead.
I can buy
But
some
he
Cognac.
has got friends, so you still have a Cognac with Old Reserve.
Amazing. So, what's the best? What kind of cognac should I buy? What kind of cognac should I buy?
I don't know. I don't sell cognac, but you have Pigalle, just the shop. You can get cognac if you want.
They always bend up to the sit.
You get more sound if you put your arm more behind,
Oh.
and you will have
More
the
close
right
to the-
position.
to the
yeah.
mustache.
So remember that. I always tell that if you want to play without a strap, you are doing that, and the guitar will go like that. So the reflex is to do that,
okay.
and the guitar stay in your hands. Nice. And after that, up, and so your hand will not
we'll
be
get used
here
to it.
like
Okay,
for
I
guitar, will be more in the right position, and it will be not, but more.
Nice.
So let's try
Let me try.
different position.
Okay, so
So tip,
so more.
something more like that. Yeah,
So like you're holding it like this.
yeah, or maybe more.
Maybe more. Okay.
Yeah. And maybe you will feel the difference. So maybe you feel more tension.
More tension,
in strings.
yeah.
Now it's normal because you
Yeah,
have
Are these tens? Or is
no.
it 11s?
When it's red like that, it's 11:46.
Okay.
When it's violet, it's 10:45.
Okay.
But red is.
Augustine, silk.
Savarez,
Savarez.
oui, oui, Savarez, Argentine.
Okay.
Argentine.
Argentine. Okay. It's 11s. Okay.
So after you choose between loop end or ball end. So it's not for every song, but try that if you want to play really dry, like Schwarzaugen, the Black Eyes. So here it will be better. Here
Okay.
you get a slap,
Slap.
string slap here.
Yeah.
It's not tight.
Okay.
So just try a little bit of that.
Talk a
Go
little
back
bit about.
and choose for each song what the best for ballad. Better to play.
Yeah.
So you can move here.
Yeah, love it. Okay, so one more question.
Yes.
Technique question.
Oh.
So rest stroke.
Yes.
So you bend your wrist a little bit.
Yes. It's because it can move easily like that. It just can't move here.
Right.
So
Eddie
it's,
Van Halen.
it's the same for violin. It's the same for strumming.
I was thinking like, you know,
Nice.
Eddie Van Halen
So
thing.
not too much pressure on your pick because you don't
So just
want
hold it
to,
soft,
to
right?
Yeah. So yeah, it's nice. It's nice.
now rest stroke, you go into the next string, right? And then when you go up,
Yes.
you just lift
push
it up,
the
right?
string. You
Push
push
it up.
the string. So you get a fat.
Fat sound.
It needs not too much now. A lot of people play on 2 millimeters, 2.5. This one is a 3.5, but
What's that?
it's
I've seen
it's
that.
a vegan picks.
Vegan,
It's-
okay.
Yeah, vegan picks. Maybe you heard about.
Not vegan picks. It doesn't eat meat.
Oh yeah. So push here and back here.
Yeah. Yes.
And you get the right sound because not do that, but push on the string.
Yes.
Bam.
I love it. Okay, so let me tell my students here. You push down and it rests onto the string, and then you lift it up, right? So you can go fast.
Yeah, and louder. Yeah. So at first, a simple exercise.
Exercise.
Exercise, yes. So only downstroke and back and push the string under. You push, you arrive on it. Not really push. Yeah, you push. Don't play like that. You play like that.
Yeah. So the wrist is so your arm is twisting like this, like your
And after that, so when you are here, I I still pushing the string. I'm still pushing. So at last it will be. Nice.
Lovely. Okay.
So it's sweeping after that. If you want a group of 3 notes, you have a little sweep.
Sometimes people call that economy picking.
Economy picking,
Or-
yeah, or
or
sweep.
yeah,
It's a
like
sweep
a
when
little sweep.
you play dance, yeah, and
Right.
not alternate systematically. So you will get down, up. Ah. So, and here a tip: when you have a good position with your pick and your hand, normally it will be dirt. You will have dirt on the black dirt, so strings marks on your thumb and these two
Knuckles.
these fingers, because they
Yeah.
hurt the strings. So you can try to play like if you have a pick and you
So-
are like that.
Yeah. So people use that to mute. A
Not
little
a
bit,
mute, because
just for the sound.
it just gives you the good gauge. So you are not too much. You are not. Don't play like that. Don't play like that with a lot of space between your fingers and strings, because it will be hard. So if you play like that, it's like comment on dit in motorcycle, it's la béquille. It's
like a
shim,
rest.
like a shim,
Oh.
like a shim in cal. So my hand just can't go down now. I push. I'm on the string, and after that I just take the pick and let a little space between my fingers and the pick, and now this one touch the string, so I get the right touch. Right touch. So it's a good thing if your fingers are black at last. After
Can I try?
1 hour of playing, you will be black here.
Sure.
And it's
Juste un petit.
and you do you feel the strings on your finger here?
Yes.
The touch of the string, and on your thumb too.
Okay.
And try to understand when you have this contact, it's different. You have a different touch.
Yes. It's little.
You start to feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And after that, you can get really cool sound, very. Yeah. Want to play? What do you want to play? time
Yeah.
I haven't played Gypsy.
Woo, 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 woo.
I have a good feeling about this guitar.
Yes.
Thank you for the lesson too. Yeah. Okay.
Maybe you can make a picture. Okay, nice. You got it. Cool. Is very far. Okay. So it's a good picture to take that or d'une montre. So I don't check it, but I think it was good. And yeah, okay, nice like that. And so
Okay, I got one. I got one that is about 80% as good for about 1/10 of the money. This is a newer model. It's called a DuPont D50. And it has some of that airiness and projection. Not quite the same as that 1940, but I'm pretty dang happy. And I think my wife would be happy that I didn't spend 32,000 euros. Not that I could have done that anyway, but look at that. I'm in Paris. I bought a Gypsy jazz guitar. See ya. Okay, so we're gonna play in our apartment because there's no way they can complain. Listen to that jackhammer sound, so the neighbors won't complain that we're playing music.
Well, not that neighbor, but the Fox neighbor.
All right, well, this is Toby with his new Mark 6, and me with my new DuPont Gypsy jazz guitar. We're gonna play some not Gypsy jazz guitar. 1, 2, 1, 2. Good job, Toby. Thanks for playing.
Hey, Dad.
Yeah.